Okay, here it says I started recording.
Yeah.
Yep. The Skype call recorder has now joined the bot.
And
Yes.
it seems like that is steady, stable on.
Good.
So we can go on.
Go, go, go.
Okay, guys, please.
Daniel, I have one question. In the process of installing PyCharm, I have a window open with two options. I've never used PyCharm. I used PyCharm before. You recommend to be honest about it, or is there any advantage?
At this time, just keep it to access PyCharm, so we can we can start playing with it. I will show you the basics of PyCharm.
Okay.
Be honest. Never be dishonest with your computer.
You can take this tutorial later on if you want, guys.
It knows way too much.
Good.
Okay, guys. So in this window in the center, you will have the text files.
How do we get this window? How do we open a new file?
Yeah, go to File, New Project.
Oh, new project. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I did that.
Yes, here instead of untitled, please type the project name you want. It can be, I don't know, test project or whatever you want.
Yep.
And then what is really important is that you use a virtual environment. So this means that PyCharm knows the position of Python inside your computer.
Mm-hmm.
By default, it's able to detect it automatically. But if not, then you have a problem with the installation of Python. Do you have the virtual environment displayed here or no? As it is in my screen, similar to my screen?
I'm going to delete my existing first project and start over so that I can follow you.
Yeah, I will wait here, guys. File, new project.
I do get, I think I got the one and I just continued not to lose track completely. And now I'm in for the tip of the day. Speed search is available in all tree views, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Okay.
You don't need, if you can, you don't need the tip.
Yeah, just remove the tip. Guys, let's be smart. Let's go on.
Yeah, now I have search everywhere, double, go to file, recent files, navigation bar, drop files here to open. So I think I'm one step beyond what you're showing right now.
Yeah, just go to file, new project.
No, I don't get that. Project.
You don't have
file. Yes, okay, yeah, sure. File, new project. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, then you should have such a window here.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Then here, just give a project name. I will call it test project. Yeah, make sure that you have a virtual environment selected here.
Sorry.
It can be the default one.
Sure.
It's fine.
Okay.
And then
virtual environment, yes, it is. Okay.
Yeah. And then, guys, once this is okay, you press create.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, William, are you set? Or guys, you set? Hannes and the rest?
Yeah. So once I press create, it then says
project.
Yeah. Sorry, Hannes?
Yes.
Okay. So then I push create. In my case, I already have a project here. I will click on new window here, just to have a new window.
It's working on it.
And then, yes, he will create the project for you. And then we should be able to get started. This will take short amount of time, hopefully, if you have a good internet connection. Okay. Yep. And then what is important to see here is that on the left side, you have a sort of file browser where you have your project. And you can expand and collapse as it is like a folder. And this one, it's exactly actually a folder in your hard drive. And the path of the folder, it's here. In my case, it's inside my user folder. Yeah. So to start playing with Python, you should first create a Python file. So all the executable Python files, they have .py extension. So how we can create a new Python file? To create a new Python file, you have to right-click on your project, and then click on New, and then click on Python file. So I will keep this open, so you can actually see how you could create a new Python file. Please, guys, give me some feedback because I don't see
Yep.
it.
Yes, I got mine.
I need to get a periscope so I can show you what's in my camera on the screen.
Okay, then Python file, guys, here you have just to give a name to the file. So I will call it like test here, and then push enter. Here the enter of all of you, perfect. So, and then what's happening is that you should see this file created on the left side on the file browser that you have here. And on the right side, you should have a text editor where here we can write our...
I can't type that fast.
Yeah, our program. Okay, guys. So in this case, you can also copy in this folder in your hard drive the examples, if you want, for example, or we can write directly the examples by hand. So I will go to the example files now, just quickly. So if you downloaded the examples from the Google Drive folder, we will run through all of them. The first one that we will run into is the hello world.
Okay, so wait, where were those examples? Did you also send a link for that?
Yes, it's still in the chat. I sent them like 5 hours ago.
Yep, if I can find the chat.
I can send them again in case you have...
Okay, no, I just need to open the chat. Here we are.
Yeah. Okay, we'll wait a little bit if you want to copy the files into the new project.
And we copy them into that directory that you showed us, right?
You just copy the files inside the directory that I show you. Yes, the one of the project. It's inside your user folder, and then PyCharm projects, and then the project name. You can also paste the text inside the file. It's up to you to make it quick.
It's coming. It's just zipping the files.
Yeah.
Zippity-doo-dah. Okay, here we go.
But again, guys, it's also good if you want to write them by hand while we explain them. Yeah? So you get some
typing practice.
Yeah, syntax practice, I would say.
This user user file or the user folder, is that a subfolder in Python 3.8, or is that wherever I want to put it?
It's inside your project folder. The project folder is showed in PyCharm to the side of the project name. So in my case, it's user folder PyCharm project, and then FabAcademy init in this case.
That's what I should find on my hard drive.
Yes, this is on your hard drive, and here inside you need to paste the example files.
So if you're set up like I am, Kai, then you'll find it under your Kürzel. Straight. So if you go to your Kürzel and then go down, you should find it under public. You should see PyCharm projects.
Oh, right. Yes, thank you. I was looking one level further down. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't put it. So you can move it later, but for now, that's where it by default has installed it.
Yep. Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, guys, let's open the Hello World example.
So does the browser in Python? It does. It automatically updates with what's in the content.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's like
Hello
file
world.
browser.
Yep, got it.
It's exactly as a file browser.
Yep.
So let's try to start our first program, and then you also will see how to use the console. So if you open the Hello World example, you should see some commented lines. So these 3 dots over here, 3 quotes, sorry, this one that you see on the screen, this is a multi-line comment. Okay. So these three dots, guys, are our comments. And then inside this example, you will see a lot of things are placed inside the comments. To take out the code, you can just remove the comment and put it down, for example, so you keep the rest commented and this uncommented. Or you can just copy the example here and then put it here, Control-C, Control-V, and so on. Okay, so we will start with something very simple for now. Okay, and this is this line. So it's print, and then open parentheses, and then quotes, hello world, close quotes, close parentheses. So you can find this text down, or you can write it directly yourself. And then if there is a mistake, Python or PyCharm, sorry, is going to tell you. Okay, in one way, another way. Okay. So guys, how we can start a Python program? To start it and execute it, to test it here in PyCharm, you can just do right-click on the Python file that you want to execute. In this case is hello world. And then when you do right-click, there is a play button, a command that is called run. In this case, run hello world. And if you push this button here, you should have the program run, and you should see in the console that appears automatically in the bottom of the PyCharm window, the execution code. It's similar to the one that you used in processing. So here you can see the text output. So what this print here is doing is printing text onto the console. And the text has to be placed inside double quotes. I think this is something similar to maybe other languages that you have tried before. So are you guys able to get this hello world on the bottom or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And is the text that I'm showing you too small, or you can read it?
We can read it.
We can read it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this was our first example. You will also find the play button here on the top right.
So that button didn't come available until I right-clicked on helloworld.py. When I first opened the file, those buttons were grayed out. When I right-clicked on Hello World and started it from the pull-down menu, now those buttons are green. So was there some compile action that had to happen?
Wait, it's because these buttons on the top right, they only take the last execution. If you didn't have an execution before, they are grayed out. They are quick buttons. So they will only on the last execution. So we will see when we will switch the files.
Yeah, they'll go gray again.
You need to do right-click again and play. Yeah.
Okay, so we always have to start from right-clicking on our program over in the browser.
The first time.
In order for the first time, and then after that, we can go up there.
Yeah, okay. Perfect. Just to have it quick. So one thing that you can realize about the Python syntax, just to start, is that you cannot see the semicolon at the end. There is no semicolon at the end. So the semicolon, guys, here is not mandatory to terminate a line. If you keep it, it's not an error. PyCharm is going to complain a little bit about it. It tells you, remove the trailing semicolon. Okay, it automatically changes for you if you want. But in Python, we don't need to use the semicolon. Just a quick recap, some other functions of PyCharm. You can, again, write something, and PyCharm tries to autocomplete for you the function that you're writing or the variable that you're writing over here. So please pay attention when you're writing if this is what you want, and then if you just press enter, it auto-completes for you the function that you want to write or the variable and so on. So guys, this was our first hello world. Let's have a look to what we can do still with this print function over here. So a single line comment is done by using the hashtag here. So you can comment it like this if you want. And then I will take out the first real example, which is just combining different prints. So in this case, if you execute this program here, what it's doing is it's printing 3 different lines. So, and what I ask you to pay attention in this example is the fact that prints actually up to the new line. So it doesn't print just this one, it goes back to a new line. So every time you write print, it not only prints this, but it prints the line termination here. So every time you use another print, this will print on a new line over here. So this is a way that you can use to print 3 different lines. Okay, guys, comments and questions about this example?
Glad to see somebody's finally understood that semicolons are unnecessary.
Semicolons are not necessary. Okay, please, guys, we need have short time.
I have one question about the text that we receive in the text box below the actual editor, where it says first the print and then process finish with exit code 0. What was that about?
This one, it's just that the software as being executed without having any error. So usually when you run a program in C or in Python, in Java or whatever, there is a special code that will be returned to the operating system. You know, when you have send report error in macOS, for example, no? When the program that you execute returns a number that is not 0, this indicates a specific error to the operating system. And the operating system could try to attempt something to handle it. It's not our case in this small example. It's 0.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. So let's go on. So I use this multi-line comment to close it. Let's go on to the next examples. So this example over here has something different. The first thing that you should notice is that this is how we declare a variable in Python. And one of the biggest difference that you will find between these and other languages is that we don't have a data type. We don't have to declare a data type for the variables. So Python is going to assign a data type automatically according to the object that you want to put inside the variable. So this is not like string message here. This is not like int number and so on. Okay. It's directly the variable. So here you can have message and this is a string. Here you can have number and then here a number and this is a number. Okay, so this is a huge simplification that you have in Python. It will automatically detect how to handle the data that you want to declare. So then what we do is here we do again a print and print a string, but in this case we give to the second print the message. A message in this case is this is a string. So this is also a nice feature of PyCharm. If you hover the mouse on top of a variable or a function, it will tell you more information. In this case, it tells you that the message is a string, and inside this string this is a string. So you can imagine where you have a lot of code and so on. This will help you a lot. Also, if you have a lot of messages over here that print all the same message, and you want to change the variable name, so of course if you do something like that, this will be wrong because message is not found. So this it's done automatically. This checking is done automatically by PyCharm. So how you could rename the variable by not doing it by hand one by one. So you can just click on the variable and take care that this highlights where the variable is used in the code. And this is not only here in the text editor, it's also on the right side where you have some lines, in this case some green lines, where you can click and you can go directly there to that point. Okay, so how we can change the name of the variable? There is powerful function that is called refactor. So if you go right click on the variable and then refactor and then rename. So guys, the renaming through refactoring is not just renaming, it's renaming all the instances of that variable in this file and eventually also in other files. So it's searching through all your project and changing all the name automatically. And this is also a very cool feature to change something very fast. So I will rename the variable here, and then I will call this message1, for example. You press here refactor, and this becomes message1 altogether. So guys, this will save you a lot of time. So let's go back to the original example. Original example, it's very easy. Okay, what we do is we print a string here, and then here we don't have text, we have a variable, and we print the message inside the variable. So if you press play, this shows you print a string, and here this is a string. Okay. Okay, guys, comments and questions on this example? Okay. So one thing that I also ask you to realize is that when you have a block of code or a block of comment, like when you have these three quotes here, you can expand and collapse a block of code in PyCharm. And this will be particularly helpful when you have big functions that you want to hide and you want to concentrate in other functions, for example. And then with this, you can expand or collapse. Okay, let's go to a new example. Okay, so let's try this one. So, so this prints this text over here, and here what you should pay attention to is this line here, because in this line what we do is we declare an array. So an array, guys, it's an object that contains a list of objects inside. These objects inside the list, it can be text, it can be stringed, it can be a plot, it can be any kind of programming object that you could use. In this case, this is how you declare a string array. So you create a list. Inside this list, you have apple, banana, and cherry, and you have 3 elements. So what will happen if I print directly this string array over here? Press the play button over here. You're going to see this is going to print the contents of the array directly. So print, it's somehow like smart. It can detect also the kind of object that you're sending to it. In this case, for the text, it works perfectly fine. And then it prints the object over here. So here, of course, you're free to add whatever you want. I don't know. Okay, and then it's etc. and so on. Okay. So guys, comments about this example? But give me a feedback at least. Are you still there?
I'm not sure if I've really understood this string array, because the way that it's printed when I execute the function, it's just it appears just simply as if it were one single string. So what's the difference really between this array and the message that we printed before?
The array is a list of things. Yeah. So this means that if you want, you can print the whole array here, or you can access a specific index of the array. So this is, for example, I just write it here on top of it. So this is the object index 0. This is the object index 1. This is the object index 2. This is the object index 3. So if you want, with this, that is also part of the next example, if you do, I want to print the string array index 0, you can access the single element. So you can access as it is one unique string, or you can access the single elements. So if you try to play this one, for example, you have only Apple here. If you have here, I don't know, 2, sorry, then here you play Sherry.
Yeah.
And so
okay, that's what I was expecting, really. It just didn't come out like that. It's just
yeah, it's because it's in the next examples.
Yeah.
No worries.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so then I think this one we have done it. Yeah, let's try to see how we can print a number. So as far as I remember, you had some issues in in processing about like working with the strings, converting from strings to int and so on. Here in Python, it's somewhat similar. So in this case, for example, what I do is I declare a number here, and then I will print this number inside a print. So here you should pay attention to 2 things. First is this plus operator here. This plus operators is like chaining the strings together. So you can chain this string with another string, or this string with another piece of data. In this case, the number. So if we make it maybe more clear, we do like this. We remove this. Okay, and then we can see here this is a string. Okay, and this is another. Yeah. So when you do this, it's the equivalent of printing like this, that you have one unique string. Yeah? So then you press play, and then this comes up. In this case, what's useful for is that we have a number on the second spot. And this number here is going to be converted to a string. So how we can convert a number to a string? We can use this function, which is called str. So everything that you pass inside str must be a number, and then this number here will be converted to a string. Therefore, if you push play here, this will print the number is, and then there is the number over here. If you try, of course, to print this one without having here the conversion to a string, but just keeping the number here it tells you I can only concatenate strings, not int. So therefore you need this str conversion here. Yeah. So sometimes you have here then plus blah, 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 and the other number is whatever. So here you can chain this as you wish to create your string output. Okay. Okay, so this was how to print a number, how to convert it. I will comment this one. Okay, so string a number. Yeah, okay. So here we have now the numeric array.
Am I the only one that lost audio?
I lost Daniele completely.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
He'll be back. He might not know that he's gone. Skype does that to me occasionally.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not able to see this.
Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I don't know where I stopped because I didn't see that the connection was lost. So this is our array as before. I was telling you that here in Python, guys, you don't need the curly brackets. You also don't use round parentheses in the for example, construct and so on. Use just the semicolon in this case. And what is really important in Python is that anything that will be inside a function or inside, let's say, a nested block of code, in this case, this one that we have inside the for, has to be with a specific indentation. So in this case, for example, if I print here, I don't know, hello, okay, you can see, first of all, this is recognized as a block of code, so you can close it and open, but also that this print line has a specific indentation here in comparison to the beginning of the line. And this indentation, guys, is not here because it's PyCharm that is making a good formatting of the code. It's actually mandatory in Python. So what's happening is if you try to remove this one over here, it tells you, oh, there is an error. The indentation is not correct. So it's forced to be like this, indented. And of course, inside this, you can have another for. And then if you have another for, this has to be also here. Yeah, indented in comparison to the for that contains it, the for that belongs. And then in comparison to the first for, this is indented inside two. So this tells you this is nested 2 times inside 2 blocks. So Python, guys, has this as mandatory feature. So the code will always be like this is an error, for example, will always be properly indented. This is true also for the first line. So if you have this and you do like this, okay, it tells you, oh, there is something that you can fix. It should be at the beginning over here. Yeah. Okay, guys, let's see what this code is doing. So I told you X will be in turn any of these numbers from the first to the last one. And then here we use these two writing. So the first writing here is index. So this index over here will return to us the position of X inside the array. So it will be position 0, position 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. So you have this index function that you can use from all the arrays. Then the second thing that is doing, and sorry the code is a little bit long, is just to print X. So this means I will just print these numbers here inside the array. So if I press play to this example here, yeah, this prints this text over here. Okay, and then you can see the all contents of the array. Okay, guys, comments and questions about this, about the previews, about Python in general? Are you able to catch it? Or is it too difficult?
For me?
For anybody.
For me, it's all right.
I can see your screen, but I'm following.
Ferdi, please maybe disconnect and reconnect again.
Okay, I'll try.
Gerard.
Yes.
You understand something?
Yeah, I understanding something. Yes, it will. I will look it one more time, and then I got, I think, 90%, maybe 95.
Okay. Please stop me if you have questions. Leonard, is this clear for you?
Yes, it's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, William?
I've just had to completely reboot my computer from 0. I don't know why. Are you just working your way through the example and you've arrived at the bottom?
I think so. Wait a moment.
And just if you could remind me, please, what were the indent? I heard something about indenting. What was that about?
Ah, yes, let's repeat the indenting. So the indentation in Python is a way to quickly understand which block of code is contained into another block of code. So for example, for usually has the curly brackets. In this case, Python doesn't require any parentheses, and it has a block of code inside that you want to execute for every iteration of the for. No? So the indentation here of this print shows you that this line of code is inside the for. This indentation is not something fancy done by PyChart. It's mandatory. Mandatory means that if you remove the indentation, this is actually considered as an error. And therefore, the code will not be executed. There will be an error when you play the code. Expected and intended block. So Python, guys, is made in a way that you have to keep automatically well done your indentation. So your code will always be very well organized.
So that in this the for x in numeric array colon, that in Python, and then the tab afterwards, that in Python is like in C where I have 4 parentheses and then I have those curly brackets, right? I think that's what I heard you say. So these indents are like curly brackets, and do they nest as well? So if I have a for and then an if, then I'm going to have a second tab, right? Okay.
They nest inside each other, but the difference is that this is something mandatory. So you know in C, apart from the curly brackets, it's also good to have the proper indentation. So you can quickly see, oh, this print is inside the second for, it's not inside the first one, you know. But here it's mandatory. So if you do something like that, it's error, for example, no? Okay, guys, and then I think I'm done with this file. I just want to show you the last thing, just very quickly. Then in this case, for example, I want to print the last number of the array. So you can play with all these tools that I gave you. So you can take the length of the numeric array, but remember that we start from 0, so this number must be -1 here, and then you print the last number. So this print will always print the last number of the array. So let's quickly try it out. Yeah, we press play. Okay, and then here this returns the last number of the array is 10. Okay, guys, this was a sort of hello world. I was telling you that you should make the example explode, because then you learn where is the mistake, where is the error. But with Python, nothing will really explode because it's a very high level language. So we'll not play with something dangerous, like directly with the RAM and so on. Okay, I will go to the next file. The next file that we're going to use is the flow control.py. So the flow control.py explains a little bit more in detail for and if statements of Python. And also here you can see some differences. So this is, for example, the way that you declare an if. And also here, guys, you don't have the round parentheses over the condition, but you can just skip them and have just a column at the end of the line. And then this works exactly the same as many other languages. So this is equal means if number 1 equal to 10, then we print this string over here. So remember that if you switch file, you have to go right click and then again play, because it will play once more if you push the button on the top right, the hello world file. So I press play here, and then you have here the if is verified, number 1 is 10. So this is the way that you declare ifs. Remember that also ifs are blocks of code, so you need to indent the print in this case, or the content of the if once. Otherwise, this will give you an error. Okay, so this is the if. Okay. So let's go. So this is really simple example, guys. So it just changes the condition from equal to more than, less than, and so on. It's exactly the same in all the languages. So this should be really easy to understand. And then displays the if is verified number 1 is less than number 2, and so on. So this is easy. Okay, let's go to the next one. So of course, also here we have the else statements. So totally like the other languages. Freddy, can you see my screen?
No, I'm sorry. I started rebooting my computer, everything. I can see all of you, but I can't see your screen.
Can you guys see my screen or no?
I can.
I can see the screen. Yes.
Yeah, I'm all right.
So,
Yes, I'm good.
Sorry, Kai?
Yep, we're all good.
I said I'm good. I can see it.
Yeah, okay. So this is just an if with the else. It's totally like the Arduino and processing and so on. So if this is not true, please exit one at the bottom. And also here, guys, the else. Yeah, there will be more advanced things, but I want to show the best. So you go play and then, sorry, yeah, I misspelled this one. The if is not verified, so you have number 2 is not less than number 1. So this will be executed. So if this is not true, then execute this one, else execute this one. So this one should be also further, so fairly easy for you guys. So yeah, then else if, just very quickly also this, else if you have again if over here, that else, but inside the else you chain another if, and then you print the last else, for example, over here. So you can chain this as many times as you want. Please take care of the indentation here. Okay, let's go to the next example. So this is also very basic, which is what you can do here is you can use the logical operator. In this case, you can write directly the condition, so it can be and or directly. And then if these two are verified, or only one of these two is verified, then you have the result under it. So this is also rather easy. Let's put this on here. Okay. So then let's have a look to the for again, but then let's play with some modifications of the flow. So how we can control the flow of the for example. So there is a special keyword, for example, that is called break. I don't know if you ever heard of it. So here we still cycle inside the numerical array, and then we print the content of the array over here, as we did before. But then we added a condition. If x is equal to 6, which means, let's take maybe the numerical array over here. If we reach a slot where we have 6 inside of it, then this if will be true, and this break will be executed. So when we have break, we will quit from the loop. We will go out from the loop immediately. So this means that this for over here will print up to the point that we have something that is different than 6. When we write to 6, it quits. So it stops printing. So if you press play, you go here, and then here on the bottom you have this print up to 5. Okay, so break breaks the loop, and you can go out of it. Another keyword is continue. What continue will do, it will just skip one iteration of the loop. So this means that if I press play, and we look here, the printout, we have everything that is printed with the exception of 6. So whenever we arrive to 6, and this if is true, continue here will not execute anymore this line, but will go back here to line 38. So it will skip one cycle of the iteration. Comments and questions about the break and continue?
So start that again. The continue does what?
The continue skips one iteration.
So then it'll write 1, 2, 3. Okay, and it doesn't do 6. Okay, so it skips over whatever it was under the. Okay,
Yep.
got it.
You can have blah, 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 whatever. It skips everything that is there.
Okay.
Okay, so this was, I think, yeah. So let's, there are some other examples that you can use with the for, some built-in powerful things. Which are these ones. So one is range, and range, guys, is a nice built-in function that prints everything that is inside a range. So this function here, range, it will print from 2 to 5. So here, of course, can be 2 to 10 or 2 or 5 to 10, whatever you want. It will print inside a range. So it's useful when you want to have a range of numbers. So in this case, for example, I print this one, and this prints from 5 to 9. So the first number is included, the last number is not. So, and then here you can also take the range of your array. So if our array it's always this one over here, then, for example, this one, written like in the square brackets, it will print from position 2 till position 6 of the array. So if you press play over here, you have here from 3 to 6. Yeah, so it's a way of slicing or of cutting your array. So this can be, I don't know, 4, 3, 1, 2, whatever you want, and this can be 9. And this will print here.
Sorry,
Okay, guys,
excuse me,
questions?
Daniele?
Yes.
So what exactly does is indicated? It's not the position of the numbers in the array. I mean, position number 2 would be number 2, right?
No, as I told you before.
Right. It starts with a 0. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So then this prints. It's actually cutting the array. So it prints position 2. So for example, in this case, the 0, 1, 2. So it prints 3, and then it prints the next position and stops. So it's a way of cutting the array. You know, you can cut it to a range that you want, from 2 to 5, for example. You know, and then you print it here.
But it doesn't print the last one, right?
It doesn't take the last one. It's the same as this one. Because position 5 here is 6, if you think about it. So
yeah, so it prints position 0, 1, 2, so, but not 5.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so this, you will take some familiarity with these things. You know,
I can see this introducing all kinds of bugs later. Okay, so that
this is the way that all the languages are written. All the arrays, they start from 0. So
yeah, no, they start from 0 is fine, but it's that it doesn't end on 5.
Yes.
It ends on 4.
This is from Python. Yeah.
So that's a peculiarity of Python you just have to be aware of then.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I think this example is, this flow control is finished. I have just a lax example, maybe. Something that is nice about Python in this case is that the arrays, guys, are something that you can modify like dynamically. So what you can do is you can dynamically add and remove objects from the array, which is not so easy to do, for example, the same way in C or even in Java. You know, you need to maybe create a new array, or use an object for it. So this is built in the arrays. So here we have still our numerical array, and then we have declared an index and a length. And then we declare, we declare a new array that is empty. So maybe let's remove all those, also these numbers, to make it more clean. So we have a variable that is 0, a variable that is 1000. Then we have a new array, which is an array, but it's empty, nothing is inside. And then in this case, we use while. So while in Python takes a logical condition that needs to be satisfied in order to iterate. If you remember this, it's true for and while in Arduino processing and so on. But here in Python, for can be written directly without a condition. So you can cycle directly with X. So that's the main difference. Instead, if you use while, you need to use a condition. So here what we say is, please cycle this until index will not be equal to maximum length, will be always less than maximum length. So then what we do here is we use the append function. The append function, guys, it adds a number into the array at the end of the array. So if you have here an empty array, it will just push numbers inside. If you have an array with 3, let's say like that, maybe it's easier here. And then here we have maybe 2, okay? And then let me comment this line that I want to show you later. And then we do print new array here. Yeah. So guys, the array at the beginning is from 1 to 3. And then here index, the first time is 0. So we will add another number that will be 0. The second time index will be 1 because we increase index by 1. And then we add 1. And then the third time, this will be 2. So this will not be verified and we go out. So what will happen here, if you print this, is that we appended at the end, I don't know if it exists in English, appended. We append at the end of the array these 2 numbers here. So you can dynamically grow the arrays as you wish. If you keep this empty, like this, so the array is empty, so what you do is you just push in the data for the array. So in this case, it's 0, 1. If you keep 1000 over here, you add 1000 numbers, and this will print 1000 numbers here in the console. Yeah. So, and then what I did is I use again the for to print the contents of the array over here. Maybe if this is not clear, guys, this is equal to this. So we increment the index by 1. You also have this compact form plus here, you know, and then this is equal of the one before. So you increase this by 1. Sorry, like this by 1. Okay. So if you press play this code, then we have 1000 prints with the positioning and so on. Okay, guys, I think the flow control is finished. Further comments and questions?
Can you insert elements into an array or only append them on the end?
You can put them also at the beginning if you want. There are different functions. There is.
And so how do you tell it to append somewhere in the middle? Obviously not with append. You use some other function.
No, that one. I think there is insert.
Okay.
Check, and then you have parameters for it. In case, guys, you don't remember something like me at this time, if you click Control, then you can click here, you know, and then you can look like the arguments and things. There is directly like the library here with the explanation, for example. There is insert, there is, as far as I remember, there is pop to remove one object from any position and so on. So you can play with that. If you're not sure, you can always look the, here there is insert, for example, you can always look the reference of the libraries and so on. So the arrays, guys, are like some sort of dynamic object. You can grow them, shrink them, work with them, cut them, slice them as you wish.
And where did we define it as an array in this code?
Here, wait.
Oh, it's just by doing that. Okay, that defined the array. And so, but we don't have to define what kind of array and that kind of stuff. We just define it as an array.
The good thing of Python from one side that it automatically assign the data types according to what you write in the content.
Okay.
So, you know, new array can be now an array here, but then after all of this, new array can be a string, you know, and this will be treated as a string afterwards.
Oh, it'll redefine that as a string? Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, that's super fast and super powerful from this.
Yeah, it's super easy to make mistakes.
Well, if you use proper names, you are fine. Okay, so let's go to functions. I think you may remember the functions from Arduino processing or any other language. Functions are just a block of codes. In this case, the keyword to declare a function in Python is def. So you have def, then the name of the function, and then round parentheses where eventually you could have parameters, and then column, and then inside here you have print. For example, this is the body of the function. So this means it's the code that will be executed if you call the function. So how you can call the function, you just type the name of the function, and then this will print hello from a simple function. So when you need to use functions, guys, when you have a block of code that addresses a specific function that you can group together. It's also very useful to avoid to have like a lot of confusion in just one single file. So you can separate the code in blocks. So you press play here, and this still prints the old one because I forgot to press right-click play. Yeah, and then hello from a simple function over here. So, but let's play a little bit more with the functions, just make something a little bit more complex than this. So, of course, to the functions, guys, you can pass parameters. I think you have seen this in other languages once more. So how this works, it's rather easy. You have to define a function here, the name of the function, the number, and inside this one, you have the print, and then here you print just the number that you pass it to. So, and this is the way that you declare a function with parameters. So if you press play, this will just print the number over here. So also here, guys, it's very important to notice that you don't have data type for the number. There is not int number over here. It's just the name of the parameter directly. So let's comment this out. So then we can have multiple parameter function. So that is the case. You have basically two parameters here, separated by comma, and then you can pass the two parameters when you call the function, and then you can have these two parameters printed out here in the print statement. So if you play this one, you have the parameter of the function are 1 and 2. So here you can add. William, you have a question?
You're having to use that cast thing with the string there in order to convert a number. So obviously it does care what's a string and what's a number, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we don't have to declare a number as a number. We just have to deal with it in the next line here, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If in case, for example, you see that this actually depends from the parameters that you are sending to the function here, because it's like that you write number 1 is equal to 1, number 2 is equal to 2. So if here you write a string, you know, there will be string. You know.
Yeah. Then the next sentence, the next statement's going to have a problem.
Not really, because the str can also take a string, just with nothing. Yeah? Sometimes it's really foolproof, let's say. You know, that you can twist the things around and it's okay. Okay, so this
Okay.
is multi-parameter
So,
function.
but importantly, before you move on,
Yeah.
we don't have to declare in the function declaration in the header of the function, we don't have to declare what kind of input is required in those parameters. That they automatically get declared by Python at runtime.
Yes, they automatically get defined by how you call the function in this case.
Yeah, but if I'd put a variable in there, would it have known what to do with that?
And you don't have a proper way of checking the data type directly. You can do some
Okay.
tests if you want inside the function, just to make sure that if somebody used the function the wrong way, then you're not fine. But if you look many of the functions, when you look the documentation, no, then there is explained for each parameter, you know, what they are. So these are the parameters,
Okay.
for example, that function, you know, so you can understand. Otherwise, it will throw just you an error.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go on. What else we have? Yeah, then we have a function with a return. So also here, another thing that you can detect is that usually you have void here, or you have a data type that you want to return, like int, whatever, no? In this case, you don't need to declare the data type that you want to return. If you want to return a value, you just type return. And this return will return the value that is written just after it. It can be a variable. In this case, it's just a calculation. No? So then what we do here is a little bit more tricky because it combines more elements from the previous examples. We use a for. We declare an array, a numeric array directly here in the for. And then for each of these elements, we pass this element to the Fahrenheit function. The Fahrenheit function takes the temperature and returns the converted value in Celsius. So we are putting the calling of a function inside a for, and we have a return value over here. Also, another thing that you should notice is this is another way of chaining the strings or chaining the values in the print. You can just write comma instead of writing plus. Is another way of doing the things, basically. So if you
Is there any advantage of doing one over the other?
Yes, when you do a comma, you don't have to use the str conversion because you give to the print function single values like this. When you use instead the plus, you need to do the conversion. Yeah. And then this gives you also the position. So this will be the first one, this will be the second one, this will be the third one, and here you can have n new elements that you want to pass afterwards. So, and this prints out the conversion between Fahrenheit and degrees. Okay, guys, so I think this example, it's also rather simple. We can go on. Okay, then we have some examples about the scope variables. So let's take it from here. I think you were talking about global variables in maybe in processing. There should be some.
Yeah, we had a problem with one, yeah.
Okay. So everything, guys, that you declare, like in this indentation, here will be a global variable in Python. Totally like the Arduino IDE when you declare the variables in the top, no? Before the setup, the same in processing, no? So these variables will be accessible from anywhere in the code. They will be accessible from inside functions and so on. Let's comment this function out. Okay, so let's comment this out. So what we do here is we just have this a global variable here, and then we want to access this variable from inside the function, and this will be available. So if you press play, this will print 1 over here. So this variable is accessible from there. Of course, you can declare another variable inside the function, like local variable 2, and then you can print local variable here. You can print the local variable, and this will be printed, okay, from inside the function. But then if you declare this local variable over here, and then you have another function here, and then we call this other function, let me comment this out here. Here. So guys, inside here, we declare the local variable. This local variable is equal to 2, and this is inside the first function. If you want to access this variable from the second function, this will not be possible because the scope of this function is inside, the scope of this variable, sorry, is inside this function here. So this variable here will not live outside the function. So if you try to press play over here, then you have an error. The local variable is not defined. So there is something tricky about Python that allows you to make this variable available to the outside. How you can do it? You can use the global keyword, and you call this, for example, global variable 2, and then you assign to this a number over here, and then we comment out this one. Yeah. And then this global variable 2, guys, because it has been declared with global, even inside the function, will be a global variable. So this means that this global variable 2 will be accessible also from the second function. Yes, give me a moment. Yeah, and here is the global variable 2 here that is printed by this other function over here. So you can play with the global keyword to make the variable global or local according to what you need in your code. Okay, I think we have the last example, then we go to the interfaces. So I just want to show you that what you could also do is you can also change the order of the parameter of a function as long you give to the parameters a label. So in this case, you see this function here, print info, should be called with first the name, because you have the name as a first parameter, so it should be Daniele, for example. And then the second term should be the age, as you can see here. So if you want, you can also put the age as first and Daniele as second, as long you identify the parameters with a label. In this case, you say age is equal to 18 and name is equal to Daniele. So this means that it doesn't matter the order, this will print the content here, name and Daniele. So here you can have as many parameters as you want, and then here you can pass them in any order. P3 equal to test, and then here you can print, for example, P3. So it's also not mandatory to pass all the parameters. You can also pass maybe 2 parameters or 3 parameters of a function. So that's rather flexible out of Python. Oh yeah, no, sorry. I need also P1 and P2 in this case. They're not optional. P1 equal to test 1 and P2 equal to test. Okay, let's play. Okay, and then this works. Okay, guys, comments and questions? Then we go to the interfaces.
One thing, I don't really see the difference here in print info, because what came out in your window below the text editor is exactly the order that I would expect.
Yes, but the issue is if you use print info like this. So you write first, for example, let's go back to name and just name and age. What changes the order of parameters? So if print info, you pass first the age, and then you pass the text, like this. Okay. Then you press play. You have name 18 and age is Daniele.
Mm-hmm.
So what changes here is if you want to reverse the order or change the order of the parameters, you have to specify here the label. So you have to say age is equal to 18, name is equal to Daniele. So that's the difference. So you can tweak, you can be flexible in printing in having your functions as you wish in Python.
I see.
Okay. So this was a little introduction to functions that you can look later on. Let's go to the interfaces. Simple interface classes. Okay. Let's play it once. Yeah, okay. And let's briefly analyze this code. So it's not part of this lecture, and I hope this will not raise a lot of questions. If you have these questions, you can, of course, investigate for yourself. In Python, we can have what we call classes. Classes are collections of functions, or either also called objects. So objects, guys, are used in object-oriented programming languages to create hierarchies between the objects, between the structure of a program. You know, you can have like a master object called vehicle. Inside vehicle, you have motorcycle, you have car, for example. They all share something. They all move, you know. So then you can say that the motorcycle inherits from vehicle class the fact that moves and it has wheels, for example. The car also inherits from vehicle, you know, that it has wheels and so on. So you can make your own hierarchy of objects and so on. For the interface, this was just a quick note about object-oriented programming. In the interface is the same. You can create a class that in this case is called application, and then you can inherit from another class, father class, let's say, that is the frame. So this example shows you an interface programmed with tkinter. So tkinter are one of the widgets, GUI libraries mentioned by Neil. And Neil also has a nice example with widgets that are tkinter and canvas. Also, what you might notice here, we use the import. Import is similar to include in processing or Arduino. And with the keyword as, you can just give another name to what you import. So in this case, tkinter, I call it tk to have a short name. So this is our class that you declare with class, and this is the father class. If you have difficulties with this code, guys, you can just modify this example to make your own interface. And then these two are, so this def are functions inside the class. Just a little thing to mention, init is like the setup function. Every time you use the application class, this init function will be executed one time, the first time. And then inside this, you have your logic. So in this case, you will see also that we have a lot of self. And the keyword self, the keyword self is actually referring to the class itself. So this means that with self, you call everything that is inside the class. So when you declare a variable, you do self.tk button, for example, and so on. So what this is doing is it's creating a new frame over here. The pack function from the tkinter adds to the screen your graphic. In this case, is doing it for the father of the class, which is just an empty frame. And then this calls create widgets function. And here you have create widgets function. And inside here, you create your things, which are like your buttons, your labels, and so on. So here you have, for example, the way that you can create a button. So you have to call tk.button to create a button. And then you can set some parameters of the button. You can set the text inside the button. You can set the command inside the button here. And you can add the button to the screen. The command of the button is just another function that you will call. And this function, for example, here prints this to the console. So and so forth for all the components of the interface. What you do here is just to create a simple interface with different objects, and these objects are added sequentially. So first you have a button one, then you have a label, then you have an entry, which is input text field, and then you have another button over here. And now you have these two functions. This function say hi will be called when you push this button here, and therefore this will be executed every time you push the button. So all of this block of code here is your class. Once you create your class, you can use it with TK, so you can initialize it, giving it the root. And then here is your application title, the pixel of your window, and this main loop at the end shows you the window. So this is like a lot of things in a very short amount of time. If you have questions about TK or you want to explore more about TK, we can look the documentation together or the reference. It's also in the links that I sent you. So if you push play to this example here, you have this small interface here. So we have a button, a label, input field, and quit. So what will happen when I click hello world here? The function that is called say hi here will be executed here, and this will print here hi there everyone. So hello world, hi there everyone. So every time you push this button, you have hi there everyone here. So this is how to create a simple interface and how you can connect actions to the button. Of course, there is another action for quit, and this action is to quit the application. In this case, this action is declared here as a self-master destroy. It's a built-in function to destroy the application, to close the application. Do you have comments or questions about the interface, guys? Please go on, Kai.
Yes, I was wondering if I use this, if I use Python to create a button for my output device, and if I use processing to create some visualization for the output, or for the input that I receive from a sensor, I mean, apparently it must work somehow on my computer, but would it run on any computer, even though other people, this other computer might not have those programs installed?
So the first question, I recommend you to make a program in one programming language. You can have one in processing and one in Python if you want, but I will show you in the next example that you can connect Python to the Arduino. So you can do application. I recommend you to do one application in Python or one application in processing, but not to mix both. The second thing is Python, as I told you, runs on a virtual machine. It's an interpreted language, and it runs almost in all the operating system. So this is, let's say, regardless of the operating system. It can run on Windows, Mac OS, as long as you have the Python program and the Python installed, of course. So as you did today, you installed Python. So you can do this in Raspberry Pi, Windows, Mac OS, whatever computer. And especially Tkinter is also meant to be multi-platform. So it can run anywhere. So if you take this code on Mac, you should see the interface on Mac, for example.
I was just wondering if, just for example, I wanted someday sell some irrigation system on the market. Then would I just drop all the code in Python or processing on my PCB, that would do the job?
So you cannot run. You can run MicroPython on the microcontroller is a subset of Python, but you should have a computer on board, which means like a Raspberry Pi or something else that can run Python. So Python cannot run as it is on the microcontroller.
Mm-hmm.
So then when you need to sell your system, you can ship everything with the software pre-installed in your system. So the user doesn't have anything to do with the software, it just sees the interface directly, for example. You know? Depends on how you want to deliver, of course, when you buy a computer, you need to install the software. and that depends if your system is just like that the user has to click this button to make it work, or to input here some data, then it can be pre-built in.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to the next example. The next example, it's similar to this one, but it uses a specific layout for the interface.
So, sorry, Daniele, the tkinter, that's a package that I would have to install separately, or does that come as part of Python?
You have to install it separately. I will quickly show you. It's very easy how to do it.
Okay.
In PyCharm, you can install the Python modules by going to the settings menu. So if you go to File, then you go to Settings. Then you click on the project name in the settings. And then you click, if you expand the project settings, you click on Python interpreter. This should give you this window that you have here on the screen.
I'm lost here. Sorry, settings. Where am I finding? Oh, where am I finding the settings?
File settings.
No, I don't get them
settings,
either.
project
File
settings.
properties.
Ah, there.
Because here on Mac, guys, I think it's maybe on the PyCharm name and then settings. I will see if I have it on Mac myself.
In the more recent versions of Python, tkinter is included, so you don't need to install it.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. But in case, guys, could be useful to add more things. If you go to the project Python interpreter setting, and then you press plus, here you can search whatever you want, like serial or whatever you want. In my case,
Daniel, sorry, I do have when I use the pop down from file, then I do get manage IDE settings. I get new project settings, and I get file properties. So
no, wait. Let me do it on my Mac because I have my Mac also with PyCharm, and I will tell you. No moment. Yeah. Okay, guys, for Mac, you have to click on PyCharm. It's near to the apple.
oh, okay.
Left. And then there you have to go to preferences.
Okay. Yeah.
And then from preferences, you have to go on project. There is a list of preferences on the left, and you have like this one that is in Windows. This is the same now. So you have project. Please expand your project.
Yes.
And then click on Python interpreter. And then you see a plus button on the right side. Yeah, and then you should have here something where you can search.
Yes.
Yeah, and here you search what you want and then you install it.
I hope I remember that.
Okay. Okay, let's go to the next example. Yeah, so this is commented. So the next example, it's very similar to the first one. Is going without said, guys, that if you want to create more widgets or remove widgets or change these widgets, just please change the code inside create widget. So of course you can add a new button, just copy the code that you have to make an existing button, and then change the name of the variable here, and change again as well the parameters. Maybe we will do an example together now that we want to add a button. So this other example here, the difference is that it works with a specific layout that is called grid. So what it does basically is every time you add a button or a label or an entry or whatever, it places it inside the grid. And the way that you can use the grid is very easy. Instead of using the tag function, you use the .grid function, and you give to it a row and a column. And this will display the object to that row and to that column. So to that slot of a grid. So here I create a button with row equal to 0, column is equal to 0. I create a label with row equal to 0 and column equal to 1, and so forth for an entry, for another button, and so on. So if I push play for this example, I forgot the commenting here, sorry. I have this here. In this case, these components are placed with the grid, so you can see that like in a screen over here. And you're free to add more components to it. This example also, when you click the button here, click Hello World, it executes this read text function. This read text is useful because this read text, it takes the text from the entry, so this means from the input fields, and prints it. So you can write here test, then press, and now you have test on the bottom here. So it shows you how you can get the data from an input field. Yeah. So guys, let's add a button maybe together to this interface so you can quickly see how to add it. So we go to TK button. We copy this block of code. We go at the end of the create widgets here. So we call this button tree. And text will be, okay, this is a new button. Yeah. And then the command can be another function. Let's define quickly another function here, which can be def, and then can be a new function. And then here we
Sorry, Daniele, you lost me.
I lost you?
Yes. I copied from create widgets this nest of 4 lines, self TK button 1.
Yes.
I brought it down to right above def read text self.
It's also okay. Yeah.
I erase all the rest of it.
If you want, yes. If you want, yes. If you don't want the other things to have a simple example, yes, you can delete everything and just keep, you know, 2 buttons. Whatever you want is fine. Yeah. And then once you remove the entry, for example, remember that in the read text function, you also have the entry. So you need to delete also this read text function.
Okay, where does the TK entry refer to?
The TK
Where does that come from?
TK entry is here in the widgets. There is a TK entry here.
Okay, yeah.
So if you delete,
yeah.
sorry?
No, I mean, I wouldn't mind keeping the creating widgets part of it.
Okay, perfect.
I was just wondering about this greened out part, the lower part of the code. I mean,
Yes.
what is still in green
here.
in my part?
Here, you mean this part?
Yeah, for me, there's still more green on it, but I
need to remove the
I just took out. Yeah, I just took that one out.
Yeah.
So I have the import TK inter as TK, then class application TK frame, then create widgets. I think I'm probably further down already.
Yeah, you have to work inside the create widget function.
Okay.
Maybe let's do one simple thing, Kai. Let's delete everything. So this is the class that you have. Wait, let me delete everything so it's easy. Right, but I need at least a widget just to copy it. Sorry. Okay. So let's see if I can now delete this one. Okay, so this is the old class. You have import, then you have the init, okay? Then you have the create widgets. Inside create widgets, there is only one button.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like this. This is your code.
Okay, and then next would be root. Okay.
Yeah, the next you should keep as it is. It's fine. You just change the application title and the size of the window that you find on the bottom.
Yeah. I just erase all the rest of it below. Okay, so.
Yeah. Please comment also the line where it says the command of the button, because if you delete the rest, the command will not be found anymore. So you need to delete this one.
Okay. Hello world, click me. Mm-hmm.
Ah, you have hello world, click me. Very good. Yeah.
No, yeah, no. I just read that. Oh, a lot of. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I receive a whole lot of errors.
Yeah. Please have a look at the code. It's like this. You have to comment this line with a comment.
Ah, okay. It's yeah. Mm.
But it doesn't do anything. When I click on it, it does nothing. It's not a very exciting program.
Yes, I get this little window, the hello world, click me window. Mm.
Yeah, Kai. So William, you must have some other issues somewhere. I recommend you to keep the examples like as they are and copy them, so you have a reference to see.
No, I just forgot the geometry.
Ah, yeah, sure. If you forgot the geometry, then you don't have the window. Yeah.
Now, this highlights an error that just happened here. So I just uncommented the last part of your text and commented the top part. Do the functions have to come before the main loop?
Yes.
Okay, so I have to define all my functions ahead of time, and then just like in C, the main is at the very end.
Yes, you cannot execute the functions. If you call them before they are defined in the text.
Okay,
they have to
got
be
it. Thank you.
Mm.
So, Kai, you got your pop-up, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. If you want to add more button, you just copy this and call this button 2. You change the text over here. You change the commands if you want to have a command. I'm just writing one empty one. Yeah. Give me a second. Do you get your interface, William?
Yeah, I'm all set.
Okay. Okay, guys, please try to change the command, play with the, you can add, so button is just one kind of, widget. You have many other widgets. Just to mention.
Question.
Yeah.
With those, with the widgets and how we read the data out of the buttons now. So you were just in the process of explaining that we have to do something to read it now.
Yes, let me copy back the example. Classes.
So you had us comment out the self.read text.
You have this read text, this function here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because I'm importing it again, you need to link it to the button. And the way you link to the button is to use this command parameter. I will show you quickly, which is here. So self tk button or tk button x, whatever you want. Then command equal to self.read text. And read text is a function that you define inside your class. That will
it doesn't matter where I define it.
In this case, should be yes. Doesn't matter where you define, as long as it's inside the class.
Yep.
This one doesn't matter where you define. Yeah. So take care.
And then I'm going to call tk_entry.get, and get is what's going to give me the info.
Yes, what is going to get you the text that is inside the input field that you have there. In this case, this just prints this there. Yeah.
Okay, need to play with it.
Okay, guys. So if you get confused with some of the code here, just use the examples as a reference. Don't break anything and just modify little parts so you can start understanding everything. If you have issues, remember that you also have the documentation reference. So in the folder I share with you, there are the links, and inside the links, there are the references. I think somebody's already here. You can see like the tutorials, the interfaces, and so on. Please browse the documentation for everything you may need, okay? Okay, so let's go to the next example, which is serial communication with the Arduino. So this simple code that you see here on the screen is actually already implementing serial communication with the Arduino. Maybe we can quickly analyze it. And also, guys, I gave you the Arduino code for it. So in the folder Google Drive, you can download the Arduino examples for these Python examples. So the first test that we're going to do is just this. In a small moment, yeah. So can you see the Arduino code, guys?
Yeah, we can see it.
So that is rather easy. So what this code is doing is actually counting from 0 to 260 and prints this to the serial, and then from 260 is going back to 0 and prints this to the serial. So in this case, guys, for Python, I highly recommend you to use the print ln or print function from the Arduino, because this will output a string to Python, and Python it's having a very easy way of handling the strings, even converting the strings to int or to whatever sort of data you want afterwards. So this code over here just send this number. So now I will connect to my Arduino. So I will upload this code to my Arduino. Okay, so I will open the serial monitor, and this is the output. So it's just counting from 0 to 260, from 260 to 0, back. Okay, so if you now want to have the same function of the serial monitor onto Python, this is the simple code that we have to use. So first of all, we import serial to Python. Then we have to initialize a serial port just by calling this library.serial, and then we have to pass these arguments, the port, the COM port. In this case, for you, William and Kai, this will be dev/TTY modem, something like that. If you are not sure about which port do you have inside your MacBook, you can, the easiest way is to go to the Arduino, Tools, and go to Port, and here you can see the port name in macOS, Linux, Windows, whatever. If you want a smarter way in macOS, you can go cd/dev/ and then you list all the serial, all the modems there, all the files. And then there you can see the TTY modem and so on. But this is rather complex. I recommend you to try just with Tools and Port for now. Okay, so what we do here, we define a COM5, we define the baud rate, we define a timeout if you want to have a timeout. And we print the port name where we are connected. And then we do an infinite loop with while true. So what we do here, it's easy. We read a line from what is being printed from the Arduino. We convert this line to a string, and we put it inside a variable, and then we print this line over here. Yeah. So let's play this code. Sorry, I still have the interface. Run serial communication. Okay, guys, and this is what's happening here. So this is the data that comes from the Arduino, right? So you can see that there is some additional characters and strings that are not there when you print. So when you do print ln, of course, this means print line, you have to go to a new line. So after the number, I will stop this so you can quickly better see it. Yeah. After the number, you have /r/n, which are telling new line termination and new line. Yeah. So we don't want this, and also we have this kind of quotes and this B over here. So this is raw data, how it comes from the Arduino. It's not cleaned. To clean this data, guys, we can use the ranges that we were talking before. So if you see this line over here, what it does is it takes the whole line range, but starts from position 2. So this means we get rid of B and this quote here, the single quote over here. So if we play this code now, this is the result. We just get rid of the first things. If you want to get rid of the last things, we also have to do something similar. So with a range, and then we have to do the length of the line -5, and we take out this trash that we have over here. So you press play, and this is your data coming out from the Arduino. So this is the easiest way that you can read data from the Arduino. And this can be anything that you want to send to the computer. William, questions about this code? Or guys, questions about this code? It should be quite straightforward.
Yeah, I'm all right so far.
Okay, so now let's see how we can actually combine this data with something that is not just the output from the console, but maybe with an interface. Yeah. So in this case, what we do here is, oh, why this is, okay. We import the serial, we import tkinter, and then the structure of the class is more or less the same as before. The only difference is that in the init function, we initialize the serial to COM5, for example. And then in the widgets, here, we have two buttons. And one button, guys, will call a function that is called send data. And this send data, guys, will not read from the serial, will write a character onto it. So the way that we encode a string text to be written onto the Arduino is with this dot encode text. So this dot encode function will actually convert this L in something that the Arduino can manage in terms of characters. And then I have another button, which is quit over here. So I just quit. And then the rest of the code is the same as before. Here you have the application window and so on. So for this, I prepared another code for you, which is the PySerial input. Is this code that you can see over here. And this code is rather straightforward. So what it does is, once we have some serial data available here, we read this into a character. Is this character, it's equal to L, that is the character that we sent from Python, with which the LED either on or off. So in conclusion, what we're doing with this code is we want to push a button on Python, and we want the LED will change its status. So we want to tell to the Arduino to do something. So I will upload this code to the Arduino. Okay, so the code is in the Arduino. We go back to Python. Python here. Let's check if the COM5 is still COM5 over here. Okay, we press play to this example.
So when I press play, I get an error that it doesn't can't find the module called serial. What did I do wrong?
This you need to import it, as we were explaining before. So
Okay.
you go to PyCharm preferences plus and so on.
I'm working on it. Okay.
But I got also an error. Let me check which one it is. I still have some comments around. Yeah, sorry. Okay. Okay, guys, and this is my super basic program in Python. And this is, I don't know if you can see my camera. You can see if I push the button here, the LED will go on and off according to it. Yeah. So you learned how to read data from Arduino, how to send data to the Arduino now. Yeah. And with the interface as well.
I might have to rewatch the video once or twice.
So, okay, what's the most urgent question now?
Now
I'm not really at
Go.
a point to ask specific questions. I have to digest for a moment. I feel like a snake who has just swallowed a big rat.
I think
Needs-
it's not finished.
Needs to rest. Needs to rest for the rest of the week.
You know, when I did FabAcademy, it was for me the first time in learning Python. I have to say that as I was a programmer in Java at that time, it's very easy. So whenever you find a rats in front of you, you have a trap, and the trap is the example. Use the example, just modify a bit the example. Because if you try to understand all of it in once, it will be too difficult, I think.
Yeah.
Bit by bit. So, William, are you running?
I've run into a different problem.
Which is?
Well, my having installed serial, now when I run it, the module serial has no attribute capital S serial.
Can you tell me the line number or where it is in the code? They should be also.
Oh, it's my serial equals serial.serial.
This one.
Yeah, and then in the capital S, it doesn't recognize that function. The attribute.
Did you install Python 3.8 or 2.7?
Pass.
Because it's Python 2.7, you could have this issue. Or maybe,
okay. Could be. I might have an older version of Python. Okay.
Yeah, that's the issue actually. Because Neil recommends to install just the 3.8 or the 3 during the lecture. So I also delete my own old Python version.
Okay, so I need to delete the old one first, right?
Yeah. And then you need to change the virtual environment from PyCharm of the project to the new Python. You can also keep the old Python if you want.
I don't need it, I don't think, do I?
But yes, it's best to remove it because you could have some conflicts and so on.
Yeah.
Well,
I have 3.8 actually. I do have Python 3.8.
Yeah. Then maybe check the virtual environment of the project or check which serial you have installed. It should be like this. Wait. It's called, sorry, PySerial, the module.
Ah, that explains it. Okay,
serial. Yeah.
I just installed the one called serial.
Yeah,
so,
sorry.
Wrong one.
Please delete that one.
Yeah, I'm just about to do that.
Yeah. Sorry, Kai, please go on.
Yes, I was just I wanted to ask again, how do I install the libraries? Was that again through PyCharm preferences, Python interpreter?
Yes.
How did we know it was PY serial that we had to install?
Yeah, I'm sorry for this. This is something weird from Python. I mean, the PySerial is the standard module for serial, but there are many variations of it. So you need to just look some examples. They will tell you to install PySerial. Or if you go to the official Python documentation, it's also linked in the document, they will tell you PySerial.
But the command in the code would still be in what was it, include
Import serial.
Import serial and not PySerial.
Yeah, the module is called PySerial, but the importing is serial. And don't blame me for that, guys. It's from Python. I'm sorry. So it's like that.
Installed successfully. Okay.
Yeah. And then you can run these examples. So let me know when you are more or less okay.
Are there any more standard packages that you would recommend us to install so we wouldn't have to look after it?
Yes, please. You can install a matplotlib. It's all attached. I will type it in the chat maybe.
Matplotlib.
I mean, at least for the examples that we're going to use, it's good that you can make real-time monitors.
Okay.
So, of course, there are many, but for these examples, it's fine that you have this.
Yeah. Then maybe one very specific question. I finally got my my moisture sensor running And I would like to have some visualization with a blue something, a blue widget whenever it's humid and a red one whenever it's dry. Is there any library that you could recommend for this purpose?
Is the next example actually. It's still with TK Kinter, you can do it.
Okay.
Just William, let me know if you run it so I can go next. Can you see the LED guys on my camera that switches when you push the button?
Maybe if you stop sharing your screen, you're too small.
Wait. Oh, I will stop sharing here. Yeah, but then I cannot show you that I'm pushing the button. So, so yeah. Can you see it? Okay.
I can't.
Yes.
Ah.
I think I do. It's the very
Yes.
small one.
It's very small one, sorry. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so let's go on to the next example because till now we have played with very simple things. Maybe William, you stop me if you need more information. Okay, the next example finally does something more interesting, let's say. Let me uncomment it. Yeah. Okay, so all the examples, guys, they are incremental. So you will not find something completely new to it. So here again, we open the serial monitor, sorry, the serial port, in the init function. In create widgets, we have some components. What is different this time is that we have canvas. So canvas, guys, is just like a matrix of pixel. You can draw colors in it. You can load an image. You can write text. You can write circles, rectangles, lines, and so on. Maybe it's somewhat similar to the draw function of processing, where you can draw different graphics. Right? This canvas belongs to the TK widgets. And the nice thing is that you can integrate it inside your interfaces. To use it, you have to also add a frame because usually the canvas will take the whole space that is in the frame. So you have to add another frame if you want to have other components in the interface, like buttons, labels, and so on. So what this code does, it's rather easy. This is like the list of your widgets. You have a canvas, a frame, a label, and a button. Inside this frame, you have this label and this button. You can see this that from the initialization of the label, for example, you don't pass the self class, but you pass the self.tk frame. So this tk frame is a frame that I declared here. If you pass this as an argument in the initialization of the label, then this means that this label will belong to the frame. So it will be nested inside the frame. So you can have different frames inside the same interface. So then we have a function which is called update canvas. Inside this function, we read a line. And then what we do is we clean the line that we have here. We convert this line to int number. And to do it, we just call int line. And every time that we do this, we do this inside a create rectangle function from the canvas. And this create rectangle will create a rectangle of which the width will change according to the data that is coming. So this is actually making like a sort of super simple bar chart with real-time data. This can be your sensor, it can be anything that comes from the Arduino. This is changing real time, and it's changing the size. In your case, Kai, this could change just the color. Or you can display a bitmap with something, you know, the umbrella and another one. It's up to you. what you want.
Oh
to
yeah,
do.
but it's perfect. Yeah, I would just use that to expand horizontally whenever it's getting more humid.
Yes. So this is a simple example. In the canvas, guys, you can write whatever you want. You can write the percentage of humidity, the moisture. You can add on top of it. This is just to show you real-time data. So for this, I will load again the example of the Arduino, which goes from 0 to 260, and then from 260 to 0, because this is a convenient range for the interface that I created. Because my, my interface is having 300 pixel width. Oh, serial port is still in use. So I need this range. You can change this range with your sensor range, and then you can change the interface and so on. So if you go back to PyCharm, then the last thing that I want to show you is that when you call, as we saw before in the interface classes, app.main loop, this will stop the execution here in this line, and then you have your interface stable on the screen. So this means no extra line of code will be executed afterwards, after this app.main loop. If you go to the serial communication example, then you will see that there is another way of updating the interface, which is by calling these two functions, update idle task and update here. So these two functions will not stop, and you can cycle here forever. And inside this loop, I call the update canvas. And the update canvas is the function that every time that is called, reads from the serial communication and updates the canvas rectangle that we have here. So if you push play to this code, hoping that the serial port is correct, COM5, stop this other code. But there is an error, I think. I forgot to declare here the baud rate. Let me quickly do it. Here. Baud rate here. Yeah. Okay, let's press play and see what happens. I think there is still another error.
COM3.
No, wait, it's something else. Let me change my range. PySerial output. Let me put. Maybe I'll go over this. Oh, but I think it's something else. Yeah, let me comment this line and play the code and print the lines. Line. But did I upload this code to the Arduino? Wait. Maybe let's go back to the other one. The timeout can play a reason. Let's try. Okay. So is my Arduino code serial output? Yeah, looks like it's uploaded. Okay. So I can go back here and maybe comment out this one. Let's play. Let's see. Okay, guys. So you see this green rectangle is not myself that is updating it. It's the Arduino. You can see the data also here in the bottom. So this grows or shrinks according to the data that you have. And you can do this, of course, in real time. And also here you can see in the label the value that is going to be received. So now this one, it's actually meaningless because it doesn't come from any sensor at all. So I would like to give you a real case scenario, because I also prepared for you another example in the Arduino. But in this case, this example, it's reading the data from a sonar sensor, from a distant sensor. So I prepared for you the Arduino here, and I will push this code here to the Arduino. Tools, port COM9, so I need to change COM9. Let's see if this uploads. Yes, okay. So let's go to PyCharm. Let's change the COM port, COM9 here. Yeah. Okay, so we press play. Hey guys, now the value that you see is not random. You see that it's growing or it's shrinking. It's actually the distance of the sonar sensor I'm pointing to the monitor, back and forth. So we connected, guys, the data from a sensor to Python. And of course, this can be done much better than this green line that you see over here. Yeah. So guys, the code for the sonar, it's also in the examples. So you can take it and play it. Guys, you have to excuse me because Alessa is here and she wants to deliver the PATG. So I will leave for one moment.
Bye.
One moment.
Uh-huh. Now I just have to wire up my sonar.
Yeah, I didn't see the screen of Daniele, so I tried like flying blindly, but apart from the last two examples, everything was working. I don't know, I don't get an error message, it just doesn't do anything. But yeah, I guess this should be easy to figure out.
You're probably not printing the document to the console properly.
Yeah, I just yeah, I have to upload the right Arduino program also.
I always hate this, there's so much overhead. Like, you know, just
The Arduino example is also in the Google Drive?
yeah. That's not a very complicated one.
I'm still trying to make sense out of this lowest part.
Which one, Kai? This one?
Yeah, could we just go through the Python code?
Yes.
I think the entire thing, just to make sure, the init. I have a line super.
This one is the importing of the things.
Yes. Okay.
This is clear.
Yep.
Then I also told you guys a little bit about the objects or the classes. So classes are like a collection of functions that are grouped all together. And then you can access the function by instancing, by creating a class. So if you want to use this application class, you should initialize it, and then you can use the functions that are inside the class.
But that's a name that I give. It's like a class of functions that I call application.
Yes, and it's afterwards. You call them afterwards in the code, at the end, that bottom part. So this init is similar to the setup function of the Arduino. It will be called only once. And then what it's doing here, it's doing some initialization stuff. So I add the frame to the interface because this inherits from a father class that is frame. Then I open the serial port over here and I call the create widget function. So in create widget, I create my widgets. Kai, sorry. And this is the way that you create the widgets. You can copy the widgets and play with the parameters. You can change the background color of the canvas, the height, the width. If you want more parameters, please refer to the documentation. Yeah. And then there is this function that is called update canvas that reads the data from the serial, and then it puts it into a canvas rectangle. So this is the same as before. Read line over here. We clean the line here. We write in the label the text, the line that we received. So we see the value. We clear the canvas from everything. We print the line like here in the bottom. And then we change the width of the rectangle. So if you see the function of creating a rectangle, it takes these 4 parameters, which are basically the coordinates and sides of the rectangle. But then this parameter, it changes according to the line that you read from the serial. And this is converted from string to int by using this simple function. Int line over here. And fill, this is just the color. Is the color.
Can you give me another word on your lines 83 and 84? 83
here, this one.
Yes.
You remember at the beginning when I was showing you the code for the serial, we had this additional character in the string that comes from the Arduino.
Oh yes, yeah.
And this.
Oh yeah.
The first
I remember.
And cleans the last 5.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. Then quit function is just closing everything here. Okay. Then we go here, and this what we do is we initialize TK with this line, and then we create our application. So we call this application app here. And as a parameter here, we pass the root from TK. Because this application, if you remember here in the init, here in the class declaration, it takes this TK frame as a parameter. This TK frame is actually the father frame where you inherit the properties of the interface. So you pass this master root over here. And now inside app, you have your application. So with this, you change the title of your application. With this, you change the size of your application in pixels. And then here, with this, you update the interface. These 2 calls, update idle task and update. And then with this update canvas, we call this function here continuously to update the canvas. And then we have to stay here forever inside this loop. Update the canvas, and then with this 2 update the interface. Then update the canvas again, and then update the interface. Update the canvas, update the interface, and so on, forever. Yeah? So I don't know what's happened to the interface actually. Yeah, it's still here, works. Look, I go far away from the monitor, and I go close, and then I go, and then you can see the real-time data on the graph. Kai, are you more convinced? You need more information?
I think I'm a little further now. Still, there may still be some gaps, but I'll figure it out. I'll try.
Okay. Okay, guys. So this was it. Same. This is the same. This was it for the interfaces. So if you push a button now, you're able to send data to the Arduino. You can read data from the Arduino. And you can also display the data from the Arduino with a simple canvas. So this was the serial communication with the Arduino. William, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm running it with the potentiometer, so I haven't hooked up the sonar. And what I'm noticing is that there's a lot of lag in when I rotate the button on or rotate the potentiometer and the information coming through. So somewhere in here, there's a huge amount of buffering going on. What is weird about this code?
I need to look your code in the Arduino and the code that you have here, because mine is super reactive.
So I did
Okay.
serial.println and then the analog value.
That's it.
Yeah, and then I wait for 10 milliseconds and then repeat the loop.
Okay, so this is the Arduino code. Yes.
Yeah.
And then this is exactly the same code here, right?
Update canvas self, right? 2:5 text line. Yeah, delete all. TK canvas 10 int line plus 20. Yep, all identical.
I think it could be that it's not the delay because this canvas is made to fill maximum 300 of width here. And you know, if you go over this width, you cannot see the update on the screen.
Now, if I make that 400,
I think the analog value that you can receive is 1023 maximum.
well, I divide it by 4.
Ah, yeah, okay. Then it should be correct. It's strange that you have this delay. Because in my case, it's almost instant. Let me check once more. Yeah, look. It's super reactive. I'm going super fast back and forth from the screen.
Yeah. No, mine has a good few seconds of delay. It's really quite something.
Can you open the serial monitor from the Arduino and see if the numbers are quick or slow?
They're very fast. Yeah. It's really weird.
Can you increase the baud rate, William?
I can try.
Both in the Arduino and the Python code.
19200 here in the Arduino.
Yeah, 150,000 to 100 if you want.
Okay, and then where do I set the under serial, right?
Yes, you have to do comma.
Yeah.
And then right here, the baud rate.
19200, right?
Yeah. I will also try myself.
That's enough. I don't need to do more than that.
But I need to change my code also here.
Okay, now I get invalid literal for int.
Wait, I cannot update the code.
Yeah, no, same problem. It's weird. Anyway, not sure what's going on, but there's a buffer in here somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know if there can be something different from Mac to, but it seems strange because in my case it's super fast. Even
That's
with
super strange.
9600, it's super fast.
Yeah, no, that isn't the problem because on when I, if I use the serial port monitor on the Arduino,
It's not super fast. Yeah.
If I get the right baud rate, and, it's instantaneous there. So the problem is in the Python interpreter somewhere. Something is.
You can look the documentation of the serial that is linked in the links. Oh, let's Google the problem quickly.
I don't want to tie everybody up here. It's just something I noticed.
Okay, so then you can check yourself. I think I already. Oh yeah, there is also the timeout of the serial that you can change in the settings of when you open the serial from Python, William. There is this timeout here.
Okay.
Wait a moment. Here. Just keep 9600 and put timeout here as I'm doing on my screen, maybe 0.01 or something.
Okay.
I don't know if this works.
Got to change a few things here.
Yeah.
Reprogram the Arduino. Okay, and then run.
Yeah, just use 9600. Seems to work fine.
Now crapped out. Yeah, okay. So it has a problem when it starts out without it being at 255. Invalid literal for interim.
This happens when you have different baud rate from Python to the Arduino.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I got to put, what is it? Baud equals, baud rate equals. That's interesting. So you have to actually, once you put one name in there, you got to put in them all, right? In that declaration.
You can also put like this if you want, but it's because the timeout, I think, is the responsible for the speed.
Yeah, no, I just had a syntax error there. Nope, still not the problem.
So com9, comma 9600, comma timeout equals 0.01.
Yeah, let me just.
I'm also trying myself. Let's see.
So getting, oh, okay, hang on, 96. 100. Okay, so at 9600, I'm receiving 255, no problem with the serial monitor. And then when I try to run the Python code, it gives me the error invalid literal for int with base 10.
Which means that it cannot convert properly the string because there is some weird things. Are you sending also null values?
I'm sending just print line.
But you're sending all the time that you print a number.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's something similar to what happened to you guys the last time, where you had this issue with the conversion. Let me check this, if I do float, maybe. Now then maybe the timeout is too fast. You cannot manage to read anything. Let me try again without timeout. Yeah, without timeout it works. But again, in my case, it's super quick. Let me try again.
Yeah. It's super weird. Yeah, I mean, it works. It just takes about 10-15 seconds for it to catch up.
Did you close the previous programs?
Yep.
Running in Python, Kai and William?
Yep.
Do there is any note in the serial monitor that tells you something that is low?
Nope. Nope.
Okay.
Very
I don't
weird.
know if
I
this
don't understand. It doesn't matter. Let's not waste any more time on it.
Okay, but then we can look to it afterwards another day. Okay, guys. So this was the serial communication with the Arduino. I also prepared for you an example with a plot. So it used, in this case, the matplotlib function. The example is called plots.py. And what this is doing, it's rather similar to the interface. The only difference is that this plots the data into a graph. And therefore, you can have maybe some kind of more advanced visualization. So also last week, one of the guys from Tunisia asked me to add a function that is save the data to a CSV file. So in this example, also here, you should have something about the CSV. So how to save and open files with Python. Let me maybe just add it. Here, in case you don't have it. But this, it's bad. Let me take the one from documents, PyCharm. Or let me copy it maybe from here. Show in Explorer. Plot. Let me delete this. So I put here plot. But plot CSV, so you also have the CSV example. Okay, so for this, I will use the code that was used at the beginning for the output. I will just change the range to 10. And then I will upload it. So this code basically goes from 0 to 10, and then from 10 to 0 back. Maybe, William, I have a delay of 1 here in the Arduino. You have a delay of 10, but still doesn't justify. It should be faster than this.
Now the problem The problem is somewhere in the Python, not in the Arduino, because it runs fine with the what do you call them, serial monitor. So
Yeah, I got it, but in my case, it's super fast on my computer.
yeah, no, I understand. I just something's not right here.
Yeah, we can look later.
I might have something misinstalled or something. Anyway.
Okay, so this works with the plot. So here there are some comments with the plot. So we have to import matplotlib pyplot, and then we also import matplotlib animation. We also have date and time to have easy life to log the data, and CSV that is used to read and write CSV files.
Don't leave that screen for a sec while we import these things.
Yeah, let me know when you're ready. You need to install matplotlib.
So now, do these things have a PY in front of them again?
Sorry, William?
Last time I imported serial and it needed a PY in front of it. I notice here I've got a date time, but with a capital D. Is that correct?
I think that time is built in. You don't need to import it. Don't import it. Matplotlib is matplotlib as is written here.
Matplotlib. Yeah, okay. And
CSV is built in.
And which CSV is built in?
Yeah,
so just matplotlib. Now, do I need to import matplotlib, PI plot, and animation as separate things, or just once matplotlib?
Just once matplotlib.
Okay.
Because pyplot and animation are inside the.
That's what I thought, but I thought I'd check. Okay, and CSV you say is built in.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all set.
By the way, the example is also there in the. You should be able to run it. Okay, so I open the serial port over here. Then with these two commands, I create a plot. So this figure commands just create an empty slot for a plot inside your drawing, your window of the matplotlib. And this adds a plot to it. You can have many plots in the same windows. It's like the interface. You can have many widgets, many plots. In this case, we just add one subplot. And this tells you we have one index, so one value, and then we have here the positioning of the subplot inside the figure. If you're curious about these things, guys, you just go here and read the documentation. Okay, you can do directly on PyCharm if you press Ctrl and then click on it, or you can just go to the links in the document. So here we have then two arrays, empty, x and y of our chart. And then here we have a simple function that will be called continuously and that we use to update our data. So this is exactly the same as before. So you read one line and then you clean the line and then you convert it to int over here. And then I print the value just for checking. Then here what I do, I place an example about how to write a CSV file. So I create an array, a two-dimensional array in this case, where I have an array of an array. So you just nest these square brackets. So this is the first element of the array. This is the second element of the array, but inside of each we have other two elements here. Then I open a file. It's example.csv file, and this file is in the same folder of your project. And then I open it with the mode A. Mode A means append. So this means I will append the data to the file. You can also use R for reading and W for writing. So I will use append. Then what I will do is I will open this file here, and then I will write here the data from this file that is in my data, and my data is this bidimensional array here. So then I will work with append. I will append every time that I call this function the date and time of now. This is just a timestamp. of now, and then on Y I will append the valuer. And then with this filtering that I showed you before, this breaking of the array, this slicing of the array, I will delete the last 20 numbers. And then here I will clear the plot and plot it. And here you have some things for the plot. So the label for the plot, the title, and the positions of the things and so on. So here what we do is we call this function here, function animation. This will call the animate function, and this will loop the animate function continuously, and this will just show our plot over here. So if I press play to this bunch of code over here, let me check if the comp port is the correct one. Comp5, yes. Okay. So plot, right click, run plot. Okay, guys, and this is my plot.
Yeah.
Plot, guys, displays the data in real time. In this case, this data is just coming from the Arduino. It's just from 0 to 10 and back. But here you can have, of course, your, I don't know, sonar sensor, potentiometer, or whatever you want. Then you can customize your plot as you wish. So you can have multiple plots. You can have different charts. There is not only these, of course, of kind of charts. You can explore matplotlib. It's really cool to display real-time things. Okay, guys, and this was the plot example. We almost reached 3 hours of lecture. I think more or less with Python I'm done. Guys, with Python you can do incredible things with, for example, computer vision. You can also work with IoT if you want. Make web servers, really do a lot of data analysis and so on. Please use this lecture to start exploring it. Learn how to read the specifications of the libraries in the documentation. Learn how to write yourself some simple Python code that you will be amazed of what you could do in the future. Okay, comments about this this one here, guys? William.
Honestly, I couldn't quite follow. I was still stuck in in a perpetual bubble with my sensor thing. I think I'm on a trace here, but I receive some error code that that doesn't tell me anything. I'm just writing an email. If you could have a look at it and give me some clue.
Just send me a screenshot. Usually when it doesn't write anything, could be the serial port.
Yeah, no, I checked for the serial port, and that actually works. I checked it from the Arduino, IDE, and the longer list of errors just reduced to 2 that are left. I'll just send you an email.
Yeah.
Maybe you can make sense of it.
Yeah. Or you can also send them in Skype if you want. It's fine. Okay, guys, this was our introduction to Python. I think it was rather fast, but I show you some concrete examples. Please use the examples to start with. Don't get overwhelmed from the very beginning. Okay. So, guys, this part
was awesome.
Thanks very much, Daniela. That was great.
Thanks
so much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Daniela.
It's not finished.
What?
Just very fast, guys. I want to show you that I was playing yesterday with the code that you were mentioning about the reading from the serial for reprocessing.
Oh yeah.
I just create here a small example. I just want to tell you one little clue that I also remember from my old days in Java. So if you have a code that potentially throws you an error in Java or processing, you can use try. So the try construct will try the code that is inside here. But the difference is, if there is any super weird error inside this, you know, like that the software has to crash, the software will not crash. It will just call here a specific exception. So here you have, in this case, the exception that you had. It should be number format exception here. So if you put the parsing of an int from the string inside a try block, whatever will happen, it will work. It will eat anything you can throw at it, you know? So this basically means that your code now is working with all the trash that you can send it from the code. So let's try it briefly. And here is the result. It came out clean without any mistake. So next time you can try the try catch block. This example, guys, is also in the folder, so you can download it. So this try catch will solve you a lot of issues, and the code is the same for the Arduino. We just use println here to print, you know, and this then, sorry, here reads this with the red string until here, and then does this one over here. Yeah, and last but not least, there is also another example in processing, because processing, guys, is very powerful for reading, for making graphic. I will not go through a lot of it, but this is the example is also there. It uses a nice library to work with geometries and so on. It's called Toxi library. It's very useful. And one that I want to show you is just that if you play this code, and I have now an Arduino connected with an accelerometer. So this code and the example that is also in the documentation shows you how you can read the data from the accelerometer. Oh, sorry, wait, I think it crashed.
No, you crashed the airplane for sure.
You can crash the airplane afterwards. Yeah. So now, I don't know if you can see the accelerometer on the screen, on my camera. It's very small, maybe. So then you can play with the data from the accelerometer that comes from the serial port. So again, guys, you can use this example to play with it, and you can look the code. Actually, here they teach you how to make 3D graphics, and it's super easy, guys. You just need to write a couple of vertex and fill this with a color, and that's it. And then you can move this according to the data that you receive over here. I don't expect that you understand all of it, guys, but you can have a look to it and check if you want to go on with processing. Yeah, wait, I need to relaunch.
Yeah, I can't see the screen, but I know that Toxic Lips is amazing. You can do there's I think it's toxiclips.org. They have a lot of examples.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you look at my JavaScript?
Me?
Yeah, did you look at my JavaScript? I did the same thing in JavaScript.
Ah, no, not yet. It's on your website?
I check it, William. I remember it's on your webpage, no?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's not this. I've just got a camera moving around a boat, but yeah, the controls are all there, and there are two sets of controls, one in HTML and one in JavaScript.
Yeah,
Playing around with that 3JS was good fun. I got it to work in the end, and the interface I used .GUI.
Bye, guy.
See ya.
Oh,
Sorry, William, go on.
Yeah, I used .GUI. I don't know if you've. Anyway, as a
For 3GS, you mean?
Well, I had 3JS for the display, and I used a thing called .GUI as the for the control library.
No, this one I don't know.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. So anyway, yeah, excellent. I like your airplane, but I don't think I'll fly with you.
Actually, what you could do is to implement the missing connection with the Arduino. So you have to use the serial communication. I sent you a link, I think, the last lecture about the serial with the JavaScript.
Yes.
And then you can then move the bolt or the light with the serial data that comes from a sensor or whatever.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It can be your robot. If your robot is tilted, you know, you can tilt the bolt or the light or whatever you want in your. Yeah, sure. That would be helpful display, no, for the user.
Yeah, it'd be great. We'll play around with it.
Okay, guys, I think I'm super tired now.
Are you? Really? After talking for 3 hours? How could you possibly be tired?
I still have to send a lot of things to the third brother, so I think I will leave, if you don't
Okay. Bye-bye.
mind. Guys, have fun. Please play with your code.
Okay,
worries.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
guys.
Bye.
See you later.